Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm in my front yard garden. So if you've watched me at all on Instagram, you know that this had a serious loss this past summer. Had a major storm that took out a lot of trees in the neighborhood, including my beloved prairie fire crab. So I planted that nearly 20 years ago. It was full grown, absolutely fabulous in the springtime, and anybody that walked past when it was in full bloom was just, they had to slow down and admire it. It was fragrant, pollinator friendly. It was just beautiful, and I did cry when the storm sheared off the back part of it, and it was just done. So I had Davy Tree come out last week and just dig it out for me, and they took care of some pussy willow trees in the backyard too. So what that means for this space is that crabapple tree was about 20 to 22 feet across, and it just shaded this entire bed. So this is the front of my house along here, shaded the entire front of the house. So I had a beautiful shade garden, and now it's going to be, eventually it'll be a beautiful sun garden, because this is going to be full sun. I mean, it's full sun right now, it's just getting baked. But this is the new addition. So I wanted to change things up. I could have done another crabapple tree, but I decided not to do it because I already have 3 other crabapples on the property, and I did want to add another oak. But putting an oak tree, you know, a massive oak tree off the corner of your house, not the best idea. They get huge unless you do one that's bred specifically for small spaces. And 2 years ago, I featured one such oak tree in my side yard garden called Kindred Spirit, and that one only gets to be about 30 feet tall and about 6 feet wide. The one that I'm putting here, this is another oak. It's a columnar oak called Crimson Spire. This one gets a bit bigger, about 15 feet wide and about 40 feet tall, perfect for this space. But it's going to mean that I can change things up here. I can do more sun-loving plants because columnar trees, it's going to let in more sun, obviously. But there's a misunderstanding when you see in descriptions of trees. You don't want to assume that just because it says fastigiate means that it's great for small spaces, because as you probably know, trees mature to all different widths and heights, and fastigiate simply refers to the growth habit of the branches. So the fastigiate branch grows more parallel to the central leader or the main trunk, as opposed to growing out like your maple trees grow outward. So a fastigiate tree, it's about the growth habit, and then it'll say it's columnar as well. So fastigiate just refers to the angle that the branches grow in, and those types of trees tend to fit better into smaller spaces, so like your urban spaces and suburban locations. So that is why I chose Crimson Spire. So Crimson Spire was discovered right here in Illinois. I believe it was in Champaign, and it's hardy in zones 4 to 7 and 15 feet wide, about 35 feet tall. So what I did here is I cut that width in half because I want to make sure I locate it properly off the corner of my house. So I have to pull up all of my Halloween decorations. So what I did was I came in with my tape measure and cut the width in half. So if it's about 15 feet wide, I want to do about 7.5 to 8 feet away from the corner of the house. So that's where I'm going to locate it. Now, sometimes, the problem can come up where you take a tree out and maybe it was diseased or damaged by storm, and you don't always want to put a tree back, replace a tree with another tree in the same spot for several reasons. One of them being, if your previous tree was diseased, you certainly don't want to replace the tree with a tree from the same family because it will be susceptible to that disease as well. Or if you've got when they dug it out, it was a smaller trunk, it was a multi-stem trunk. So when they stumped it, they ground it all down, mixed it into the soil, and because it was a smaller stump, it's not as though it released a ton of wood into the soil. And that's a problem because when you add wood to your soil, that wood naturally absorbs all that nitrogen that's in the soil as it's decomposing, and it'll eventually release it back into the soil when it's done decomposing. But what that means for the new plant that you put in its place, it means that there's no nitrogen available to that plant, and new plants need nitrogen in order to grow. So that's not going to be an issue for me because it's not like I had a massive trunk here. And I have to say, I was really proud of myself when the arborist came in from Davy, and I asked him this very question. I said, hey, is it cool if I just put my tree back in the same place? And he said, absolutely, you've got great soil. I've worked really hard on my soil. So he said, you can definitely put it in there. It's not like there's a ton of wood in there. So just be mindful of, if the tree that you've had removed has a disease and you want to replace it with something else, don't replace it with something from the same family because it too might be susceptible to whatever is still lurking in that soil. So I am going to plant my Crimson Spire Oak, and I should mention too, the fall color is spectacular, and I I'm a fall garden person. I love the fall garden. It gets a vibrant red. The acorns are really dark on it too. So when I picked this out, I bought this out at Sunrise Greenhouse in Grant Park, Illinois. I buy a lot of things from Sunrise. They have great stuff, but the acorns on it were just a deep brown, almost black looking, and I just thought, man, that's fabulous. So I'm gonna get after planting it. I'm gonna dig the hole twice the width as it is in the can and about the same depth and water it in. Okay, I think this is deep enough. I won't know for sure until I drop my oak tree in here. But also too, when you're growing in an urban or a suburban spot and you've got the recommendation is that when you're replanting a new tree, try to locate it at least 10 feet away from your previous planting sites. When we're in small spaces like this, it's not always easy to do that. If you're forced to plant in the same spot because of space limitations, pick a plant or tree, shrub that is not from the same family as the previous tree if it was diseased, so it's not going to be susceptible to anything that's still in the soil. And in sites where it was a big tree that's been stumped and you've got a lot of wood in the soil, maybe wait a year or two before you plant again to give that wood, the wood chips, time to break down so it's not sucking all the nitrogen out of your soil and depriving your new tree of nitrogen. So I'm going to slide in my oak tree and see how it fits. And if you were a sower, you know you always measure twice, cut once. So I'm going to measure this one more time. Okay, about 8 feet, a little shy of it, which is totally fine. This tops out about 15 feet wide, so I'm about 7.5, just a little bit more than that. So that's perfect. And when I'm planting, I am not amending the soil at all. I'm just using native soil. The soil's really nice. I've worked on my soil throughout the garden for years, compost, all kinds of stuff, dig and drop. So I think this will be really happy here. And I'm also going to plant this a little high because I'm going to allow it maybe an inch or two high. I'm going to allow it to sink a little bit because this was stumped. So a lot of the soil is really loosened up from the stumping. So all I have to do is just backfill this, water it in. I'm also not going to mulch it right now because it's really dry right now. We're in a drought and I want to, any rainfall we get, I want to make sure that it's hitting the soil, getting directly to the root ball. And because the wood chips will just absorb all that moisture first and then eventually the rain will make it there. So I'm going to eliminate that issue right now. I'll mulch next year. I like to move around and eyeball it from all different directions too, and I do really like the way that is. It's nice and straight, and boy, does it change the look of the front yard, but I'm really stoked about it. I think it's gonna look awesome and maybe be a little bit more modern looking. I just love the verticality of it. It's gonna look pretty cool here. And before I go and backfill the rest of the way, I've got about 1/3 of it backfilled. I wanna go ahead and get in there with my hose, fill it up, give it a really good drink, and then I'll go ahead and backfill with the rest of the soil, water it again. And before I go any further backfilling it, I just want to show you the size of the hole. So the old saying is $5 plant in a $50 hole. So you want to give it a really good growing site. So you can see root ball here, and I've gone about twice the diameter. So that's the best way. You can go 2 to 3 times the diameter. I went about twice here, maybe a little bit more. And then I'm planting it just a touch higher than the surface here, because I'm just allowing for it to settle a little bit. Hi. What do you think? He was going to help me with this. He just, no, come on. No, it's okay. He was going to help me with this, but I decided I could handle it myself, and he's just now seeing it. What do you think?
Looks great.
Yeah, I think it's going to be nice. It's different, huh?
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's going to look really good. So I'm just finishing it up. So the key is now to keep this thing watered. It's so dry here, and the hose is the very last thing I put away every winter. I water my new evergreens for the first 3 years after they're planted, and my deciduous trees for the first 2 years. I keep an eye on them, just want to make sure they root in really well, and with it being so dry and everything, it's just really good to be on hand with the hose when your plants need it. So I'm really happy with how this looks so far. I'm excited to watch this mature. I am a little sad that the crabapple's gone, but whenever you lose something in the garden, it creates opportunities to make new spaces, and this is definitely going to be a new space, but I just wanted to get the tree in, and the rest of the planting is something for the winter time. And I love planting container grown trees and shrubs. It's just so much easier. I'm usually the one planting. Balled and burlap are great, but they're so heavy. Last year, you might remember when I planted that viburnum trifolium in the backyard, and my husband helped me with that. That was a beast. This was really easy. Most of my trees are container grown trees that I've just dropped into very good planting holes and taken very good care of them. So I'll update you in the spring, show you what it looks like, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.